All right, how many is this is your first Greenfield? Good number. How many were here last year? All right, wow, all right, so new faces, fantastic. Okay, my name is Dave Lamb. I work for a company called PWP Video. We tell people stories, big surprise, right? Mostly documentary style, but I've been doing this for over 25 years. I shot a lot of weird stuff in a lot of weird ways, and I hope to impart some of that stuff to you guys, finding tricks and way to do this filmmaking stuff. Sorry, I'm talking fast because we already lost 5 minutes. All right, we're going to talk about today you're going to talk about story and pathos and all that stuff, and that's great. But let's imagine that you have your script all complete, and you're looking at your pile of gear that you have, all right? We're going to tell you how to use the technology, the technology you have accessible to you to tell your story, okay? You got your cell phones. You can shoot a movie on that. That's fantastic. You've got your DSLRs. Great. Little fixed, handy cams. Perfect. You have a cinema camera. Good for you. But any of those cameras can tell the story you need to tell because the gear you use does not matter as long as you have something to say. Make sense? If you have a camera, you can shoot stuff. All right? Now, can a cell phone camera shoot as well as a cinema camera? Yes and no. They do different things in different ways. So we'll talk about how to use the stuff you have access to in the best way possible to tell your story. All right. As filmmakers, it is our responsibility, I'm going to hammer this really hard, it is our responsibility to direct the audience's attention to what is important to the story, right? Don't let things happen by accident in that frame. Outside that frame can be chaos, but inside that frame, you are in control. So control it as best you can. We're going to use visual clues, camera tricks, audio cues, sound design, and editing. I won't talk about editing too much because editing is a little bit subjective, right? Like you can edit in experimental ways, you can edit in classic, camera reversal ways. Won't talk about that too much, but we'll talk a little bit about that. Take control of your environment as best you can. Turn off the lights. Bring in your own lights. If you don't have your own lights, you can manipulate the light in ways or just work with it. It's fine. We'll talk a little bit about that too. So controlling your environment also is about audio. Is that leaf blower going on outside? Maybe ask them nicely to stop. Or wait a few minutes before the leaf blower stops, or the lawnmower, or the air conditioner. Turn off the air conditioning units. Things like that. Control your sound, control your light, control your environment, and control your cameras. We're going to talk about camera, talk about sound, and talk about editing. In full disclosure, myself and a lot of this guy too, we are your judges. We're going to judge your projects.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. So the things you take away today, things you learn today, take with you, because we're watching. Because a lot of times I see things like, they didn't pay attention to that camera trick I taught them, or there's the ending didn't fall quite right. The script wasn't the story wasn't solid enough. But that said, 5 minutes or 6 minutes this year?
6.
All right, it was 5, right?
Yeah, we moved it up.
I got to change my PowerPoint now.
Yep.
I had my math out and everything. All right, so last year was 5 minutes. This year it's 6, which is wonderful because that extra minute is great. Even as professional filmmakers, 5 minutes is a challenge to tell a story. Because like I said before, break down the math. At 5 minutes, 1.6 minutes for each act. Your introduction, your first act, your second act turn, your climax, and your ending. That's hard to do. So good luck. Hopefully we can teach you guys some stuff. All right, talking about camera, sound, and editing. Talking about camera. Okay. Cameras can do, I'm going to just divide this in 2 different departments. Cameras can shoot wide shots, right? And telephoto shots. Pretty simple. What happens in a wide shot? Just shout it out.
See everything.
You see a lot of stuff. What else happens?
Call it out, guys.
Okay, so in a wide shot, what happens is you have a deep field of focus, right? A lot more stuff is in focus. So it's hard to get your audience's attention to what you want them to pay attention to, okay? We'll talk about that. What happens in a telephoto shot? When you zoom in on something, what happens? What's that?
You're right, go with it.
Louder.
Shallow depth of field.
Shallower depth of field, right? Okay, so when you zoom in on something, all this image like crushes together. You can focus, literally focus on like my right eye, my left eye, the person behind me. You can change literally the focus of the camera to change the focus of your audience. You are directing them to what you want them to see. Nothing happens by accidents. Bob Ross taught us that happy accidents happen, and they're great. Accept them when they happen, but don't count on them, okay? All right, so cell phone cameras, they mostly shoot wide. They don't telephoto very well, okay? Let's say you have a camera that can't zoom very well. We'll talk about this movie, Citizen Kane. Who has seen Citizen Kane? I need to see more hands. Take notes. I must watch Citizen Kane. It's a wild, weird, wonderful movie. Orson Welles plays Charles Foster Kane. He is a multimillionaire in the Depression. The Depression happens, okay? In this scene, it's a wide shot. We're going to watch Charles Foster Kane lose all his control. In the scene, he will gain the control back, okay? These two gargoyles are going to be like reading this contract, okay? In the contract, he slipped in that he maintains control despite the fact he lost everything. So watch what happens. Oh no, not this again. Stand by. This is how the sausage is made. All right, how you like me now? There we go. But you can't see it.
With respect to the said newspapers, the said Charles Foster Kane hereby relinquishes all control thereof, and of the syndicates pertaining thereto, and any and all other newspaper, press, and publishing properties of any kind whatsoever, and agrees to abandon all claim
Which
thereto.
means we're bust. All right.
Well, out of cash.
All right, Mr. Bernstein. I read it, Mr. Thatcher. Let me sign it, and I'll go home.
He's getting smaller. He's losing power.
Mr. Thatcher, Charles.
You're too old to be called anything else. You were always too old.
In consideration thereof, Thatcher and Company agrees to pay to Charles Foster Kane as long as he
My
lives.
allowance.
The sum continue
He's getting bigger.
to gain over your newspapers a large measure of control. Measure of control? And sure, seek your advice.
He's back.
This
He
depression.
stepped into the light. He's now back in charge.
There's always the chance that you'll die richer than I will.
It's a cinch I'll die richer than I was born.
That makes sense? That was a wide shot, one take. You can shoot it with a cell phone camera. Easy. Not easy, but it can be done. You can tell your story with any device you have accessible to. All right. So, also what happened there too, everything's in focus, right? Those two big gargoyles reading the contract were in focus. Charles Foster Kane was mostly in focus all the way back and forth. Deep focus, deep field of focus on those wide lenses. All right, let's go the opposite direction. I said opposite. There we go. Casino Royale. We're going to watch our favorite misogynistic dinosaur, double agent. He's going to get in some trouble. Band. Listen to the sound design. Listen to how much dialogue is going on. Number of shots were shot, okay? And we're also going to see a lot of telephoto stuff that's going to tell our story.
And forward.
Excuse me, please?
Forward. Right.
Nice. Back on this one.
Nice traveling shot. We're establishing we're at a big table.
Forward.
Jimmy takes his drink.
Forward. Forward.
Wins.
Hear that? Something's up. Bam. Bam. What's in that drink?
Poison.
Did anybody say poison was in there? Who told us poison was in the drink? It was James Bond, wasn't it? He looked at that drink. That told us everything. His reaction, the actor's reaction, told us everything we need to know. The camera put focus here, drink. Camera put focus here. Oh boy, there's poison in that drink. Make sense? That zoom shot, you're able to direct attention to what you want the audience to see, to tell your story. Also, who's in charge in this shot? Who's the boss in this shot? The drink, right? Drink's like, I got your number, buddy. Because he's like just like looming right here, okay? He's panicked. He's not in charge. He might be bigger, but his reaction was not in charge. So you have camera, you have sound, you have acting. How much dialogue was in there? Just the mumbling of the casino, right? So that's what you do with the telephoto lens. You can use that lens to direct the audience attention to what you want them to see. There's no mistakes here. There was no accidents. Like, this is all planned out. Remember, make a plan. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about editing. So that was pretty straightforward editing, right? Shot, reverse shot, Mads Mikkelsen across from Daniel Craig. Like, you know, also like you could tell from that Mads Mikkelsen was responsible for the poison in the drink, right? That came across pretty clear. He was also the guy who said put the poison in the drink. So now that was all shot, reverse shot. Those were all established. Now Jimmy's in trouble, and we're going to see him get in trouble with some crazy edits. This is the very next scene in the movie.
Deal, man.
So the shot, reverse shot.
Sorry, sir. You are the big line.
Small blind, please.
It's getting tense. Camera's moving. His friends know he's in trouble. And bam! Bright light, moving camera. Bam, cut, edit, edit. Camera's up, camera's down. These bright, look, reverse shot, look at that, right back and forth. Just smash cut, smash cut. Twisting the camera, these Dutch angles. I think he'll be okay. So see those differences in editing? High tension, right? Fast cuts versus with the previous stuff. All right, let's talk about sound. How are we doing on time? We're doing good on time. All right. This is something that falls short a little bit in the projects too, is sound design. If you got a piece of paper, if you're remembering it, a great resource is freesound.org. I use it a lot. And if you go to freesound.org, there's lots of free sound effects. Footsteps, clinking glasses, clinking money, coughing, crowd noises. Super helpful. You can even drill down on the search to look for non-attribution license, because you have to give credit for all the sound effects, which is fair. But you can find free stuff that you can use in your project, so as long as you give credit in your end credits and stuff like that. Great resource. So let's talk about sound design a little bit. And we're going to talk about a great, Marty Scorsese made a great gangster movie called Goodfellas. Who's seen Goodfellas? Right on. See Goodfellas. It's a great movie. It's a Martin Scorsese classic. All right. So in this movie, we're going to talk, did I keep it? I think I did keep it. Okay. Let's talk about diegetic versus non-diegetic sound. You guys talked about that yet? What's non-diegetic sound? Go ahead.
I know it's like what the characters hear, right? So like what the audience hears versus what the characters in the scene hear.
Right. So there's going to be some things where the music or sound effects are for the audience versus what the characters are hearing in the music. So, or in the movie, excuse me. Okay. So in this is all one amazing Steadicam shot, okay? And here we go.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'll see you later. Thanks.
What are you doing? You're leaving your car?
What? It's the car for me. It's easier than leaving it at a garage and waiting.
Hear that music? Is that music? Are they hearing that music, or are we hearing that music? We're hearing it. That music is strictly for storytelling purposes for the audience.
I'm waiting in line. How you doing, Gino? All right, good. Hey. Every time I come here, every time you do, you work.
Still all one shot. No cuts.
Nice to see you. Yeah, good seeing you.
This is still all one shot. We haven't cut yet.
Great, thanks. Anything you need, just let me know. Hey, after we can. I know you're waiting. I'll be right with you.
It's a great shot. Gets me every time. All right, so that song, was it Shondel's? Kills is over top all the great sound design that's happening. So when I downloaded this a year or so ago, I discovered that there were like multiple tracks once I brought it into my Premiere. I was able to remove the song. This is a surprise. I could remove the song, and I heard all the amazing sound effects. So here's that shot again.
Thank you, sir.
Keys,
Thanks.
What are you doing? You leaving your car?
Watch the car.
traffic noises,
It's easier than leaving
footsteps.
in the garage and waiting. It's a lot quicker that way. You know what I mean?
I guarantee you, 90% of these sound effects and dialogue was recorded after the fact.
I like going this way. It's better than waiting in line.
All his little quips and stuff, probably recorded afterwards, because they wouldn't be able to mic him.
Good. What's up?
Money, hear that? Crinkle the money. Palms at the guy. More footsteps.
How you doing, Gino? Hey, Henry. How are you? Good, good.
You can hear that sandwich in the guy's mouth.
Hey.
Hey, Henry, how you doing?
Every time I come here, every time you two. Don't you work?
That guy slapping the elevator door. All this jibber jabber in the background, I'll guarantee you, these actors were dead silent the entire time. All that noise was added after the fact. Because what's probably happening is Martin Scorsese is probably giving direction, because this shot was very well rehearsed. These turns, this guy standing here, well, he bumped into that. I mean, I think that was probably a mistake. This guy, look at it, crossing right in front of here. That is choreography. That's hard to do. Now we're going into the performance hall. More money, hear that? Crinkle the money.
How you doing?
Henry, nice to see you.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Hi, how are you?
Again, all these people are probably deadly silent. They're just mimicking all talking to each other.
Hey, how come we can't get
I know you're waiting for
How come we can't get in table? All that's recorded afterwards. And we're at the table. It's a good movie. You should see it. Does all it make sense? You are in control, and you can bring that control all the way to your edit. Talk about editing. So editing is subjective. My advice this morning is the same. Shoot a lot. Get some extra angles because it'll save your butt in the edit. Because like I said, there's a movie you write, your good intentions, there's a movie you're shooting, and you have to make all concessions because the light wasn't right, all that kind of stuff. And there's the movie you edit. 3 different productions. When you're editing, you're making your movies with all your heart, right? You're putting your heart and soul into this. In your editing process, it's time to be heartless. That shot that it looks so great sometimes has to hit the cutting room floor because you had 6 minutes, maybe you're at 7 minutes. You have a whole minute to cut out of your piece. It's time to go in and pick the stuff that serves the story best. It's hard to do. And that's why sometimes the stories kind of fall short a little bit because there isn't enough shots sometimes. Let's see, and that's it. All right, so let's go back to the camera stuff. All that makes sense? You guys any questions, shout them out. Because I think we got cheated by 5 minutes, and we got 10 minutes to go, I think. So, if I do this.
Dave, can you talk about coverage for certain scenes?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe how they should, how students should kind of prepare to get more shots?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So make a plan. When you have your script, let's say you have a conversation between 2 people, maybe 3 people. Let's keep it 2 people. Start making a shot list of things. So what are the 3 basic shots you want to get? You want to get a wide establishing. You want to establish the space these people are standing in, right? So and you have 2 people. So you want to see what one actor is seeing what the other actor is seeing. Shot, reverse shot, right? So there's 3 shots. You got a plan already. Maybe you want a 4th shot. Maybe the one actor slides something across the table. You need a shot insert of that thing getting slid across the table. Does that make sense? Then you're up to 4 shots. So make a plan. Make a plan when you shoot, and shoot coverage. Like you said, it's called coverage. When you just shoot extra stuff you need. Don't forget to keep the camera rolling when one character is talking and the other person is responding. Those little head nods. Keep your actor acting in the other shot. Like, make sure you get like interaction with those people. So shoot as much stuff as you can. Walking across a room, get it from different angles. Shoot extra stuff. If you don't use it, great. But if you needed it and you're editing, it's too late. Make that plan and shoot extra stuff. All right, good? No problem. You went to sleep on me. It's time to go to work. Okay, here we go. Oh, good, we see it. All right, so we're talking about wide shots versus telephoto shots, okay? So let's say you're stuck on a camera that, is only the best, the wide as best you can do. So what is the point of focus in this shot? The head. Okay, why? It's in focus.
In the foreground.
It's in the foreground. It's on the right versus the left. How about now? What's the focus?
Still the head.
Oh, well, the head's weird. But what is the most lit thing? The people in the background, okay? Think about where your audience is going to be looking for these shots, okay? You have to control this stuff. So let's say we do this. So in a wide shot, point of focus is the head. Obvious, right? I'm still wide, but I was able to focus that, but now that focus is in the background. Force your audience to pay attention to what you want them to. And let's see what happens. And this is all basic stuff, but really watch what happens when I zoom in like this, okay? Background disappears. That's like one of the classic Steven Spielberg things. Like, you want a person's attention? Go right to the eyes. The eyes will tell you anything you need to know as a reaction to something that's going on. There's no possible way an audience member could ever pay attention to anything else in that shot, right? And how about now? But we did something interesting though, right? There's a relationship now. What's the relationship? Just shout it out. What do you see there? Oh, you don't see anything. Okay, what's the relationship? We have a relationship between the head and people in the background. All right? It's visual language. We're establishing something here. And you go back and forth, Does the head feel lonely? The head wants to be part of the crowd. This is all subjective stuff. Contextual to what you want the audience to know. All right, how about what's the focus now? It's a crowd of people. It's hard to distinguish what we're supposed to pay attention to. It's our responsibility as filmmakers to tell the audience what to look at in the frame, what they should be hearing at all times. I'll leave the head in charge. All right, 5 minutes. Any questions? Comments?
How do you like prepare like smoothly change the focus in the sense that how would you plan like?
How would you just do it? I mean,
Yeah, like how would you go about, I guess, zooming in or changing focus mid-shot?
Have a lens that can do that. It helps to have a lens. That said, like, you pinch and drag on a cell phone, you can zoom in live. It can be done, but just do it. I mean, it's smooth. It depends what's going on too. Remember James Bond? He was losing his mind with all the poison and stuff like that. Things are zooming in, zooming out, moving on. It's like if it's a high action, like just get in there, right? If it's like a slow push, it's all contextual to what the kind of story you want to tell. But you can do it live. You can do it, do it in camera. Anybody else? Comments, concerns? Event?
What type of camera is
This is a Canon 5D Mark IV. It's a camera I don't like to use to shoot films with very much, or shoot video with very much. It's hard to use. But I use this because it's kind of a middle grade between like, a cell phone or a palm quarter and a cinema camera. Kind of lands right in the middle. So you guys have access to all different kinds of stuff. So I don't like to specialize too much. You had a question?
What films would you recommend, like studying to specifically look at editing?
Oh.
Shots.
So again, that's subjective. Based on the kind of story you want to tell, you mean research for your project, look at movies that are like the kind of story you want to tell, and just steal from the best. I think Spielberg said that. Just steal from the best. But that's something else too. Do research. Watch movies. Watch the shows you like. If something catches your eye, turn the sound off and figure out what is so great about that moment, and just really dissect it in your mind. What made what for shots were used? What kind of light was used? Really actively consume your media as to why you think things look great.
Will zooming in by physically moving your camera towards a subject versus using the zoom function on the camera look like vastly different, or are they kind of?
Yeah. So some things happen. There's some mathematics that happen there. I gotta tell you to stop falling asleep. So 2 things happen. In a wide shot, a lot of stuff's in focus, right? Wakey. So if we zoom in, if we move the camera in, we're still wide, okay? And I get my focus. You can still distinguish people in the background, right? So we have this huge foreground element and people in the background, so you can still distinguish that. Crazy stuff happens optically when you zoom in. You almost can't tell what's going on back there. So when you tell a photo like that, when you zoom in, you crush a lot of that background. So it depends how much detail you want back there. So, but both options are completely viable. Someone else had a question.
You were to touch on lighting real quick. Yeah, just the importance of lighting, and also how to do it for cheap.
Yeah. So this is just a paper lantern. I got it at IKEA. I think they still sell them. They're a couple bucks. You put a light bulb inside. It's this beautiful soft light, right? Depending on where you put this light, can vastly change. Whoa, that's overexposing. Where you put this light can really change the mood. Is this pensive? Is this angry? Is this sad? It's pretty even keel, right? But if we move it up like this.
Dave, how powerful is that bulb?
That's I think it's like a 100 watt. It's actually a filament bulb, so like it's, I don't know, they seem a little stronger. Put it back here. This one's a little hard to control because it is a big, soft source. But this is a look I like to use a lot, with just like really soft in the front and a hard edge in the back. It's what I like to call motivating your light. If you're in a space where a window, remember that wide shot you shot, that you better have shot, that wide establishing shot? If you see a window in there, that's where most of your light should be coming from. So motivate that light from the sources. Important. I think we're out of time. Maybe I have a question? I saw a hand. Oh, that wasn't a hand. Okay. Did that help at all? Did I do something right? All right, thank you.